Hello everyone and welcome to Dadcast
with the... Someone at the door.
Who's that? Yo! Hello everyone and welcome to Dadcast
with the Man Dem. They would have seen that nice little intro there. So, as you know, I'm Jace, father of two, joined by my awesome co-host Kenny, father of two, but we now have a new addition. What's your name, sir? State your name, soldier.
My name is Joe, and I'm a father of four.
Father of four. So you might have seen Joe in some of our shows before, so it's good to kind of have Joe back. How does it feel to be like actually a part of a team?
It feels interesting. It feels more professional this time round than the first show. I was on the very first show, I think. So yeah, it feels a little bit more professional.
Okay.
As you did, if you didn't know, Joe is number one dad.
He is. He's the good dad.
The good dad.
So Joe, what do you think you can bring kind of to the show then, joining the team?
Well, I'm hoping to be able to bring a bit of my perspective on things. Obviously, I guess when we're looking at us as fathers, my eldest is 12, so a little bit older, maybe a little bit of different issues that I'm facing that you guys are not quite there yet, which we've got to look forward to. One of my daughters has hit puberty, so that's fun.
So it's fun.
So hopefully maybe a bit of a different perspective on older kids, and that's about it.
Okay, cool. So Kenny, topic for today.
Topic for today is anxiety. Get that heart pumping. As dads, there's many different situations that we come across that makes us anxious. Maybe we don't talk about it a lot, but this is Dadcast with the Man Dem, and we will talk. So, Jace, a time where you felt, very anxious, or not even just that. What makes you anxious?
The thing is, it's the thought of other. It's always new. Other kids, other people, around my kids. Mm-hmm. So I can't take them to things like festivals and stuff. So I would have said in like shows ages ago, although they're a bit bigger now, but when they were smaller, it was like we were at Legoland and they were in the water park playing, running around. I'm just like, there's just too many people for me to be able to keep an eye on everyone and my kids. It's just like, and then, Nicola handled it absolutely fine. Takes them to like the Bristol Bloom Fiesta and stuff, and they have a good time, which is all good.
I lost my son there once. So that was fun. He ran back to play on a bouncy castle. We didn't realise, and exactly like you said, big crowd of people, and he just panicked. Thankfully, he was there sliding down the bumpy slide, and it was fine. But
there was a video that I saw, funny enough, yesterday, and it was showing. It was a video in Barcelona, and when a child walks away from their parent, whatever, what the people do is they lift the child in the air, and everybody just starts applauding. Because then, obviously, when you got a loud noise like clapping,
that's cool.
You look towards it, and then the father sees that they are holding up his child and stuff. He's like, "Oh my God, thank you!" It's just like,
I mean, that's all good and well until I see a man I don't know picking up my
daughter. But the thing was good was kind of seeing that kind of like that's the thing they go to do in the community thing. My anxiety does come from things that just having like loads of people around and trying to have our kids, and I guess it's also kids learn to get on with each other. But like for a while, there was like always that thing of being at the soft play and having to look after other people's kids that they weren't watching themselves. Because even if it's not my kid, like you end up seeing two kids scrapping. It's like where are their parents? Or you'll see one parent trying to move their child away, but this other child's teeing off, and it's just like, what do you do? So that's mainly where my anxiety comes from.
Okay. What about you, Joe?
I think anxiety has changed over the years. I think when my eldest daughter, when me and her mum broke up, they then moved to Cheltenham, and that was a big anxiety for me, having gone from living with my child, with my daughter, to not seeing her in the week, but also her not even being in the same city. So it was like, I would wake up in the middle of the night and be like, oh my gosh, what if they were in a car crash and they're dead and no one could tell me, because, do you know what I mean? And like these really irrational anxieties that I just kind of, so that's something I had to kind of learn to live with, and that was a big learning curve. I think when you're going through a breakup anyway, and when children are involved, there's a lot of emotion involved anyway, but that's settled over the years, and my daughter's 12 now. She was 11 months old when she moved to Cheltenham, so I've got used to it. But now I think the anxieties are a little bit different. We've had secondary school, so Maisie is in year 8, Tasia's just started year 7, so that's been a whole new kind of anxiety around how will they do.
Yeah.
I know what secondary school is like for me. I've worked in secondary schools. I know how kids can be, and you just want to protect your kids.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount you've got to let them go, and that's hard.
Oh man. Okay. Mine. So Kida, as you've probably seen her, she is very, very small, and I get very, very anxious around, loads of people. So just like you, festivals and stuff, man, I'm just really anxious. Even when we went to the zoo, just very, very anxious. We're trying to film, we're hosting, and I also have to keep an eye on my children, and she's just so small. And one of my big anxieties is that someone's just gonna just mow her down because they're not gonna see her there. They're just gonna,
That's the thing when it's crowded as well, because when people are kind of sardined, it's not like everybody's able to look down or see that far. So when your child's all the way down there, it's not like people are purposely bumping into our kids, but it is that kind of thing of, don't bump into my kids.
I think the last time I had that was at St Paul's Carnival. I had 2 of my girls and 2 of my niece and my cousin, who's a teenage girl as well. And we were going down one of the busy roads, and I realised it was a mistake halfway down, and they were all holding onto my shoulders, so we were in a line. But it was that whole thing of people weren't looking at anyone lower than. So I'm used to being bumped in a festival, and it's fine. You're used to it, and you just kind of make your way through. But now I'm trying to watch out for 4 kids behind me, and adults who are already maybe, they've been partying and stuff. It was only like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We went to get some food, and I'm like now having to watch out for them and letting people know, mind the kids. Do you know what I mean? And that was that's the last time I probably felt a bit socially anxious in a situation with my kids, and they're old enough to look after themselves, but it was still like, my baby.
It's hard though, and it's hard, especially when you're trying to explain to your children, what this is, why we as parents are having this feeling, because they're like, oh no, I'm all right, but it's like, it's not all right. You know what I mean? And without trying to scare them,
Yeah, because you need them to kind of adventure a bit, but you just always see those. Because there was a clip of this kid who was trying to jump up onto a step. Have you seen it? He jumps a few times, and he just can't do it. He falls on his butt a few times. But the clip says, how many of you would have stopped your child here? And he just keeps jumping. Eventually he does it, and then he can do it. And it's having that kind of thing as a parent. So getting to the point, our girls don't go out and play without us there.
Yeah.
But there's other people who let their kids stay out and play and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then a future anxiety will be making sure my kids are ready to walk down the street by themselves. You know?
Joe, I mean, you mentioned before how, anxiety has changed, and it has, especially over, the years, from when we were younger, and our parents would just allow us to just, we had a park at the back of our house, and my mum would just allow us just to go into the park, she can see us from the window, but who knows what we're, what we're doing and stuff like that. There'll be times where we used to be able to play on the street, just play football on the street, in St Paul's, and it's near the centre and it can be busy, but we were just allowed to do that. Did your parents kind of, show any anxiety at any points, growing up in the 90s?
I think things have changed. I think it's not that there's anything more happening now. We're just all more aware of it because of social media, which is going to play into kind of your thought process. But I think some of when we were growing up, it was more. My mum was a single parent who worked full time. So when we got home from school, she was at work, so we could go and do what we wanted. The one estate we weren't allowed to go and play in is the estate that we went and played in. And we'd have to hide in Mary Carpenter Place. I'd know what time my mum was walking home, and she'd always walk through the estate, and I'd hide behind a hill, and you wasn't allowed to be there. So I think my mum probably had similar anxieties, but due to just the way life was, she had to let us go out and play. Do you know what I mean? It was there was it was just, I guess it was more normal, but she kind of let us out. And I think now, at 7, I was going to the park with my friends, and I was very anxious about letting my 7-year-old do that when they were younger. But then, because none of my children live with me, there's also that, I've only got them for that little bit of time, and it's a little bit different, I think. My mum was cooking dinner, so we'd be, we're playing out in front, Mum, we're going down there. Where when my kids are there, it's we'll all go to the park together, because do you know what I mean? And they do now as they're older, kind of go off. But now it's Tasia, who's 11, who's got a mobile phone, she'll go off after school sometimes. She started year 7. Now the anxiety comes when you can't get hold of them on the mobile phone. My mum we never had mobile phones, we didn't have anything.
So it wasn't
there, but now that it's there, she knows that if her phone dies, she needs to get home. She's not allowed out if her phone dies. Do you know what I mean? But then she'll get caught up talking to someone like, you know, girls do.
Kids do,
40 years later, 40 years? 40 minutes? 40 minutes feels like 40 years. 40 minutes later, you're like, where is she? And you start panicking and, you know, so that's a whole, that's a kind of a different anxiety. So yeah, I guess it has changed. But you want better for your children than you had, but you also need them to be able to go and explore the world.
I think for me as men of daughters, it's that thing where you look at teenage you and you just base whatever the worst teenage boy you know is, you base all potential boys on that person. And I think that's the thing as well, is that again it comes from us kind of showing our girls how to be treated and those kind of things. But you just kind of never know kind of what they're gonna find.
My theory, and it's not tested, we're getting there because they're hitting that age, is I have X amount of time to build up my relationship with my kids, especially my three eldest are girls, so my daughters, in a different way. But I've got X amount of time to build up this relationship with them and build their confidence, build their self-esteem, build their self-image, educate them about choices they can make. At some point, they're going to go and make those choices. And it's how I've equipped them, where I think your natural thing as a parent is to be like, no, you can't go and make that choice because I know it's bad for you. And they're going to find a way to do that. So I think that as fathers, as parents, but as fathers, we have a responsibility to use those years that we have to A, make sure you've got a relationship where you can chat, where your child can come and talk to you, and B, you kind of instill those things in them. Yeah,
because we're going to get to a point where we're going to have to let them go. And the whole point is to make sure they can, we can trust them, and we've got to allow them, to do that and show us that, we can trust them.
And you think you've also got to be prepared for when they break that, and that your kids are going to be heartbroken, your kids are going to make bad decisions, your kids are going to do something that they regret, and it's then really difficult because you want to tell them off and you want to have a go at them, but you also want them to not hide things away from you more. And I don't think there's a right answer. It's about what's natural for you and your child in a relationship.
Everyone as a parent is scared of their children going down a certain path. But like you said, it's the leading up to that bit, what path they end up walking.
That's it.
So what would you say is one of your future anxieties, do you think?
Oh, my future anxiety. I have, one of my biggest things, is like my children going missing. Like that is one of my biggest things.
And like taken.
Yeah. I have a few unique set of skills. And it's just there's educating my children around, obviously making sure you don't talk to strangers, you don't do this, and that's one of my biggest things. But I think in the future, it's just around their choice in terms of their career, I suppose, and what they kind of want to do, and trying to nurture that without being pushy and stuff, because at the end of the day, they're going to know what they want to do. I knew what I want to do from a very, very early age, and I just kind of went with it. But whereas Zaire like he's not good at making decisions, or he doesn't like to make decisions. So he's like, if there's peanut butter and there's jam, I'm just going to put them together. And I'll have them both. So I'm just interested to see how, he is like with making decisions. Unfortunately, sorry, my lovely wife, but he gets it from Sherelle. Make decisions. But then with Kida, it's the boy thing. It's cliche, but it's the boy thing. And like Joe said, we have a certain amount of time to educate them. I hold myself lucky that I'm with my wife, and so she will be able to kind of install that alongside me and help guide me to help guide her. So yeah, that's my kind of future.
Joseph,
I think my future anxieties are around how strong-headed and stubborn my kids are in regards to the same thing. In a way, is about making choices, whether that's with a partner or with life decisions and things like that. It's the older they get, the more important those decisions become. So when they're a kid, when they're young and they're before secondary school, they're making decisions about things. The impact is not massive because you have that control over them, and if there was something they were going to do that was dangerous, you can stop that. As they grow, they're going to be in situations, whether that's their first going to a house party or pressure to drink or do whatever that might be. It's all things we all face and we all got through it. But it's that whole thing of I will have a lot less control over the decisions they make. So, yeah, about them making the right kind of decisions, I guess, or being able to be there for them when it goes wrong. And I think that can be really hard as a man, as a father. I know there's already been times where I've had to not show how I feel, not react at all to a situation that one of my kids has spoken about. And oh right, okay, so how did that make you feel? Yeah, well let's and talk about it in a productive way where really inside I'm like really angry. Do you know what I mean? So and that could be something that's happened at school. But my two eldest girls have both had incidents already in school, one in year 6 and one in year 7, where boys were acting inappropriately. And my reaction obviously is to go up to the school and kick off. Do you know what I mean? But that doesn't help, and it's about kind of talking them through what their rights are. There, actually, even though they're taught that this is the way boys are, they have a right to stand up for themselves. Do you know what I mean? Yes. And that's an important lesson that I'm continually trying to drill into them. But it's that whole thing of them making the wrong decision because they think they're right all the time.
What about you, Jace?
It's one of them things where, like, I remember being 15-year-old me, I thought I was grown. Mm-hmm. Like, you all kind of go through that stage, and then you get to, approaching 30, you're in your 30s, and it's like, wasn't it great to be in year 9? Like, I just can't wait for when my kids are at that kind of, they've just started like a GCSE, they're starting to pick what their future is, but like, it's a chill time at the same time, like in the middle. So talking about school, do you guys have any like anxieties around your kids' education? Do you guys want like your kids to, is there a pressure for your kids to do well and go to uni, or like what is how do that?
Oh, that's a good question, because I would like them to go, uni. I mean, we come from a background where, university was expensive and not everyone got the chance to go, and it still is expensive and it just keeps going up. But at the same time, if my kids had a chance to go to university, I would definitely be up for that. If they didn't, they didn't. There's plenty of people, that I know, especially growing up, that, didn't go to uni. Yeah. And they're doing perfectly fine, My main thing is my children's happiness, and I want to make sure that they are happy doing what they're doing. And as a guy who enjoys doing what I'm doing, especially work-wise and career-wise, I find it so important to be happy doing what you're doing. Yeah. So I just hope, for them that they are happy doing, with their career and what they do. Regardless whether they're going to do it.
As I say, with my kids, is they do so many things that is really clever, and they're doing really well at school. I worry about Jess and the pressure that she puts herself under. Okay. And it's that kind of thing of, you want to push your kids and have the high expectations, put them on them so that they push higher. But then you don't want to have a child that's constantly stressed. But at the same time, you don't want to just act like, oh, it's fine, do what you like, because at the same time, you want your kids to do well. It's trying to find that balance. You have to kind of look how it is. So hopefully the girls do well at school. But I'm better cute. Like, I didn't go to uni until 3-4 years ago. So I know that it's not you need to go to school, you go to college, you can college uni, but it will be a thing I say to the girls. If you do it earlier, it's done. Yeah. That's all, because then it gives them that time to do other things.
And they're going to need to know the natural progression routes, what is the norm in terms of the, progression route. And then it's up to them to decide whether they want to do that.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, I didn't have any pressure on me to go to university as a child or a teenager, and I missed 3 years of school, so I don't even have GCSEs. So that's been an interesting journey. But my mum never put the pressure on me of, you need to do this and that. It was more like, whatever you are going to do, put 100% in and do it. I think that I worked at when I worked at Fairfield School, it was really interesting because there was a couple of different demographics of teenagers. You had teenagers from this is when Fairfield was back in Montpellier. You had a lot of middle class kids and a lot of working class kids, and it was interesting to see the cultural differences. So it was normal for the middle class kids. They expected to go to uni. They didn't talk about it. It wasn't part of their daily life, but their parents went, their brothers, their sisters went, and it was what they were expecting to do. They knew that they were going to get their GCSEs, they were going to get their A-levels, they were going to go to uni. Obviously, they didn't all do that, but that was the cultural expectation. And with a lot of the working class kids, it was like, when you finish school at 15, most of their parents, 15, 16, started working, started helping out in the family, so there's a whole different expectation. So I think that can put a lot of pressure on kids to fit in with what is around them. But I guess for my kids, it's like, it is about what makes them happy. I'd love for them to, I struggled without education. It's been an uphill struggle in regards to work. And I don't want them to do that. Yeah. I want them to be happy, and if that is university, then I'll absolutely encourage that. But if it is that they want to go out and, you know, become a builder or become this or that or whatever it might be, stereotyping. But, you know, like that kind of stuff, as long as they're happy, I'm happy as long as they're... But I do think it's important to put that little bit of, like, come on, you need to do your homework, you need to do this, you need that, it's important you're on time, set those kind of things, you know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go to a bit of a break right now, but we will be back to continue talking about anxiety. We also have a very special guest from across the pond talking about his experience with anxiety, and then we'll also talk about, you know, what's coming up for the boys.
Yeah. So take a minute, put in the comments below what is it about parenthood that has made you feel anxious, and we're going to share some of our stories in just a minute.
Yeah, baby, it's your boy Crenshaw Rob out here. We representing Dadcast with the Man Dem. Hey, I got you, bruh. I got you. Don't worry, I got something for you here. Watch this. You ever seen something like this? Boom! Dadcast with the Man Dem T. $11.99, dog. $11.99. I say $11.99. Make sure you buy one today. But I got an exclusive for you, baby. That's right. We got the red tea, man. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the screen. I don't know where, but I don't care because I know you do. That's right. Make sure you get it. $11.99. The link is up there. Get it today. Do it. Do it now, baby, because I'll do it for you. Don't worry, I got you, bro. I got you. Keep supporting the daddies and give them a platform to talk about their kids, man. It's all good, man. But make sure you buy it today, buy it tomorrow, buy it the week after that. But man, if you don't, you won't be able to get it at all because it's only live until the 30th of September. So make sure you get it, man. Support the Man Dem. I got you, bro. I got you. Hey, y'all be good now, alright? And we are back, Dadcast with the Man Dem, Kimmy, Jace, and Joe. We just want to say a quick thank you to all of our supporters, all of our, people that watch our shows. Yes, we want to say thank you to Linden Accountants. We also want to say thank you to BCFM and also to Up Our Street. You know, all these people, all these organizations have been backing us a lot, you know, over the last year. So yeah, just want to say a quick thank you to them.
Yeah. So we just we're going to kind of share a few stories now of times where we've had anxiety or had that kind of feeling. So I was saying to the boys in the break that with mine, it's the first time having like the kids by myself, so like having Jess by myself, because you know for ages Nicola was there the entire time. So Nicola was doing it all, or I was just there with her.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's that thing of having just you and this little person. It's like, hold on, you can't talk to me, but I need to give you whatever you want. And it's just like, although you've been part of that routine, you suddenly start going, wait, when it comes to the milk, how do I do the milk? Is it this and then this? It's like, oh, is this too hot? Is this too cold? Or, oh. And do you know, do you guys ever remember like the first time like bathing your kids?
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember in the little bath thing, and yeah.
The belly button, man. It's like when you're washing and there's the belly button's fell off. The belly button's fell off.
So it's just like those kind of things. Like those first times was the big moment. I just remember just really feeling. It was a good moment of feeling like I need to protect you and no one ever will stop you. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, whoa, kid, you didn't get a choice of who your dad's going to be. Like it's me. So I can't swap out. I can't send you back. And there's no subs. Like this is us now.
I think I definitely had that the day I found out I was going to be a dad. I had that. Oh my gosh, this is forever. This is real. Do you know what I mean? That I had that. That was definitely an anxiety for a little bit of time. It was like I'm responsible.
I just want to hark back to the belly button. New dads. In case you didn't know, the belly button, you know, it does fall off, but it'll be okay. I promise you.
It's like a little bit of jerky, isn't it?
Heed what the Man Dem say. As we say, seek solace in the Man Dem, it will be okay. My experience of anxiety at a specific time. So, you know, when you have your first child, you do everything you do. It's your first time doing it. And then you think that you got it done. And then you have your second child and you think, okay, I know what I did here. It worked. Maybe we'll try and do the same thing. But then your child's 5 pounds, okay? And she's very, very small. And that made me very anxious because I ended up babying her a bit too long. And then what happened is where we thought, we're doing things exactly the same way we did with Zaire, it just changed, because of babying her longer. Yeah. So I find myself at one point crying, trying to put her to sleep. She's not going to sleep. Why isn't she going to sleep? You're trying to creep out. She's crying again, and you're like, oh my days. And that feeling of crying just because we did things just that bit differently. Every night for a while, it just got me every time. And then, you kind of seek solace in other people. I spoke to you, a lot. I spoke to you a lot about it, and then you just try new things. And it managed to work. But I just think it affected me for a while, and I think you should just stick to your guns and try to continue to do what you did before. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do something different.
The thing is as well is that your kids' personalities, even when they're babies, they end up being different. Their temperaments end up being different. 100%. So. Two children raised in the same house the exact same way, completely different.
I've had this with my four kids, 4 very different personalities, and I was going to say that because I think you're right, and you can also almost doubt yourself as a parent when it's gone well the first time, the first child's fine, and the second child comes along and then things don't happen the same way, and like you said, every child's got a different personality, and I think you have to have the same expectation with each child. Like, okay, these are the rules of the house. You do a meet in the kitchen, and you do tidy up after yourselves, and blah blah blah. Like those, you have the same rules, but you can't treat each child in the same way. Or you can't, like one of my children, I cannot discipline in the same way as the others because of who she is. And I've had to learn, because all it became was a back and forth with me and her and a real confrontation. And kids don't back down. In case you lot didn't know, kids do not back down, especially when they think they're right. So I know that with one of my daughters, I have to deal with the situation differently. It's not that she gets away with it. It's not that I don't have the same expectation. But the way I handle the situation has to be different for her because of who she is. And she can't help that. Do you know what I mean? So I think, I definitely think that is, don't doubt yourselves if it's going hard the second time because you're doing things the same way as the first time. It's not your fault. It's how it goes. I think for me, around anxiety, a situation I really remember, which was about Maisie was my eldest. She was quite a shy child, and she used to find it hard to, go out and unless she knew somebody, she wouldn't really go up to them. And I remember being in Minor Road Park. She must have been about 6 years old, and we'd go to the park and she'd never play with anybody else. She'd just want to play with me all the time, which is great. It's cool. But this one time there were 2 older girls on the swings, and she was like, "Oh, Dad, I'm going to go and say hello to them." And I said, I want to encourage her, but I also know this is her first time reaching out. And if she gets shut down, it's going to... So I obviously was like, "Oh yeah, that's great, Maisie, da-da-da." And I then felt anxious for her, and watching her go over, and she went over and she talked to these girls, and then she came back with her little lip quivering and just burst into tears, like, "They don't want to play with me." And at that point, I wanted to go and just have a go at the kids. I was like, no, I can't do that. But being anxious for your kids when they're taking that new step, they're making a new decision, or that your child, and they find something difficult, and then they've done something to overcome it and they get knocked back. That's a real hard thing to kind of...
So saying that, that kind of projection of your anxieties, I don't like to... I don't think I do it much, but I know with Nicola and Jada, when they have there's a set of school holidays, they've been together for a while, and when it comes to going back, although Nicola knows she's fine, although Jada knows she's fine, they both have this kind of thing of separation where we've just spent so many weeks together. And I think Nicola's really enjoyed over the summer having the kids around, and having the kids around and doing childminding and sort of seeing how our kids have developed and seeing how our kids care for the kids that are in Nicola's care, which is quite nice. Really nice. Jada's a little assistant, going out here, police and stuff like that. Child labour. Yeah. So I guess it'd be, you've heard our stories, so we'll go to...
we're going to go to our friend from across the pond. His name is CEO Hayes, and he is the host of the Awakening Soul radio show and podcast. That's a bit of a mouthful, but make sure you check out his show. You can find it on all podcast streaming apps. So we're going to hear from CEO Hayes. So here we go.
All right. So my good friend Kenny Killer asked me about a time that I felt anxiety as a father. I have a really good story for that. So a good example of that would be I used to work overnights, and I'm at work and I get a call from my son's mother saying, I need you to go to the hospital. I need you to come now. My son, who was 5 at the time, so I'm like, okay, I'm going. Left work, went right up to the hospital. I get to the hospital. I didn't know what was going on. Get to the hospital. My son's, way before then. So of course the anxiety of like, what's going on with my son? What's going on? I'm leaving work. I'm frantic. I'm a supervisor at the time. So I'm setting up stuff so I can get out of there. I'm telling all my employees, look, I have to go. This is what I need you to do. Call me if you need anything. So as soon as I get in the car, I'm calling. She's not answering. I'm calling her mom. She's not answering. Calling. And finally, picks up the phone and she's like, I'm like, what's going on? Why'd you need me to rush to the hospital? She said, your son was jumping on the couch, landed off, went face first through the glass table. He has a big cut on his face. He was bleeding all over the place. The ambulance took us. I get to the hospital. He has this huge gash on his chin. Had to end up getting, I think, 17 stitches. But yeah, that was definitely the most anxiety I've ever felt as a father, especially not knowing what's going on, trying to rush and get there. I was a young father at that. I think I was like 21 at the time. So I was still, I mean, he was 4 or 5, so not really new to being a parent, but that was like the first big situation ever. And like I said, not knowing what was going on or why I had to leave at first, it was just crazy situation. But that's definitely the most anxiety I think I've ever felt as a father.
CEO Hayes, thank you very much for giving us your insight into anxiety and your experiences with anxiety. Boys, it's been a good show.
It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah, it's been emotional.
It's been emotional, man. Oh man, so we've got quite a few things coming up for Dadcast with the Man Dem. So we are starting a new initiative called Dadcast Diary. It's going to be Dad's Diary once a week, where myself, Jace, and Joe will have an opportunity, around 5 minutes on Facebook Live, talking about our experiences as a father during the week. So it will be, what we found difficult, what has been positive, and what have we learned from our experiences as a father this week. And we encourage you guys also to film yourselves talking about your experiences during the week in fatherhood. Send them in.
So the details will be whizzing around the screen now, popping up, coming out, going back, and
Send them into our email address. That's dadcastwtmd@gmail.com. I mean, we need that, man. We need to hear from you guys. So make sure you do that.
That's what's been really good about our project, right? Like when we went to the zoo and when we've done something for the dads, being able to talk to other people has been really good. And yeah, that's what we're about. It's more than just a YouTube show. It's about actual conversations, about going out there as well, meeting people. And yeah, so if you know of anything coming up that you'd like us to be involved in, again, just give us a shout. Details are down below.
Even topics, guys. If there's something specific you want us to talk about around fatherhood, we'll do it. We will do it. Also, don't forget the Dadcast with the Man Dem exclusive t-shirt, the red one, the red one. It is very, very exclusive, and you can only get it until September the 30th. You'll see it somewhere, the link to getting the t-shirt. So please continue to support the Man Dem to give fathers a platform to talk about their children.
And it's also an opportunity for us to see kind of who is interested in stuff, because I've got quite a few designs that I've put in the pipeline. I've been pinging them, and yeah, so people have been voting on things and they like them. Obviously, this t-shirt, once this t-shirt's gone, I'm not going to design that one again. And then, but when we make other things, they'll be available much more longer term. But it's just kind of gauging where we're at with that.
Yeah. Also, make sure you stay tuned to our Facebook feed and also our Instagram, because there's going to be giveaways at some point. So make sure you check that out. Just follow us. So, Joe.
Yes.
How was your first experience as a host of Dadcast with the Man Dem been?
Yeah, it's been really, really good. I'm actually really excited about this kind of new stage of the journey. Fatherhood is something I've always been passionate about, and I think that's through many life experiences and things. And it's been so nice to watch you guys grow as friends of mine anyway, and being involved in the first show as a guest and seeing how far you guys have come. And to, like you said, it's not just about us talking; it's about listening, it's about hearing back and interacting, and then giving back with the stuff you did with the zoo, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to being involved, and I hope I can bring some stuff to the table as well. So,
That's good. Cool.
Okay, do you think, Jace?
Well, I guess there's nothing else to say but fatherhood.
What about the like, subscribe? What about that?
Do you know what? You guys will notice that the format has changed. I have not yet let young Kenny know. Throughout the video, the information's been coming up, mate. It's fine. Don't you worry.
I feel neglected. So we'll do that again.
So thank you, W, for coming on. Thank you, Kenny, for being an awesome co-host. And I guess there's nothing else to say but fatherhood
Doesn't come with a manual.
yeah.